But there are jokes that are made. I do think that like, posing in front of a woman who's sleeping and like sort of doing a like I'm grabbing her breast thing, I just think that's dumb. I don't think that warrants losing your job. I just think it's a stupid thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that means you would make that person your friend, but I'm not sure if that meant that he needed to resign. So again, I think that we needed more of an exploration on that. And it is a little salt in the wounds. It's very upsetting because, just a few years later, you had an accused rapist by multiple people, non-investigated in many of those cases, appointed to the Supreme Court, the highest office, honestly, lifelong office, the most important position, and Brett Kavanaugh is in there still with rape accusations hanging over him. So it's tough, but I agree with you that potentially, like from a progressive angle, that even just running in for president could be good to keep Kamala Harris on her toes and keep Democrats on their toes generally.
Yeah, and look, I get all of the accusers of Al Franken, and again, I think they should be believed, and there will be a burden on Al Franken should he run for anything to show what he has learned and to demonstrate that he has come a long way from those days when he was doing stupid things like mugging for the camera while somebody was sleeping. However, if you do support Al Franken, you're supporting somebody who is very smart, Harvard educated. He's got incredible charisma. As you know, he's fast, he's witty. He's got all the sort of the X factors to be a really, really successful presidential candidate. Now sometimes it's up to chance and who knows what can happen. But I think to the extent that Al Franken might be able to bring the Democratic Party farther to the left in 2024 would not be a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's great. I think that we should really. I didn't even think about this. I'm really appreciative that you're like bringing in a different perspective on this, David, because I don't think that it would have occurred to me. I'd be like, I run for Congress, run for governor. I mean, governor could be a thing. Who's the governor of Minnesota right now?
Yeah, I mean that's the reasonable, practical, pragmatic political step for him. But I think all the old rules feel like they've been thrown out the window in the last 5 years. And so look, if he wants to be president, go for it, run.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'd say do some tours first. Lord knows I prefer Al Franken touring, doing the comedy circuits than Louis C.K. I do think those are very different circumstances. But I like Al Franken generally, and honestly, losing a senator was tough. That being said, I think we should hold people accountable to their actions. The problem is that when you're dealing with the right wing, when you're dealing with Republicans who openly continue to embrace people like Jim Jordan, who covered up, sexual assault, or Matt Gaetz, who trafficked 17-year-olds over state lines and hired them for sex and paid them on Venmo for some reason. Like, it is apples and oranges. It's difficult to live in reality anymore, right? And then the right does this thing, which they always do, right? Which is holding Al Franken up to standards that they don't hold their own up to. So then we're really taking crazy pills here because we have no common agreements. We have no leg to stand on. The one thing I do support, however, is the things that Kirsten Gillibrand has moved in the Senate, right? Which is making sure that taxpayer money is not going to helping Congress people fight their own sexual assault claims, which was happening before. And I know that this sort of coalesced at that time that she was trying to push that legislation, that new rule forward. And so I think that, wires were crossed, et cetera. But again, going up against the likes of Donald Trump and how many sexual assaults, look, one is bad. I'm not saying that, but like, we live in that hellscape of comparing creeps. I'm so like, we really do. And not all creeps are equal in a lot of cases. Anyway, David Schuster, such a pleasure.
Francesca, it was an honor. This was great. First of all, you're terrific at this, so congratulations. And QIT is lucky to have you as often as you are available or whatever you want to come on. And it's an honor for me to be on with you. This was fun.
Oh my God, likewise, David, and thank you so much. And I hope to everybody check out David's endless clips on Rebel HQ, all the content, then context that he's bringing, his years of knowledge. Like, again, y'all are lucky, I am lucky, and thank you so much, and for being here. Take good care.
And thanks to Sophie and Skip and everybody up and down the line.
Sophie, Skip, Marissa, everybody. The whole Damage Report crew, thank you for being here. Thanks for the Twitch folks. I don't know, I think I've read everything. So guys, listen to the Bitchuation Room. We'll see you on Monday. I'm also gonna host. Brett Ehrlich will be here hosting tomorrow. But until then, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and slay out there. Bye.
Yep, you know what it is. Indisputable, I'm your host, Rashad Richey, good to be with you. We got a lot on the agenda today. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be a powerful show. I have breaking down news of the day, none other than former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner, anti-YT contributor, will break down news of the day right here on Indisputable. She will actually be with me on all Thursdays, breaking down news of the day. And in the bullpen, my debate segment, stepping in the bullpen today is Dave Spencer, host of Practically Political. That's a podcast. So Dave is going to talk about what happened in the California recall. I can tell you what happened. Hot damn mess. That's what happened. They spent $200 to $300 million on this recall, and Larry Elder was their great hope. When Larry Elder is your best chance, you need to analyze your life decisions. You've obviously made a lot of mistakes leading up to this point in your life, okay? But he's gonna provide some context. Love to debate him. That's gonna happen today. Ladies and gentlemen, my first story. An officer goes to a bank. The bank manager says, hey, we have a mask policy, okay? The guy leaves, the officer waits outside and decides to physically assault the bank manager outside. Let me give you background to this. This is in California, okay? The guy, let's put his picture up again. This is his mug shot. That's the guy, okay? He's the one that committed this attack. Correctional officer out of Grover Beach, California, was arrested after an alleged assault on a local bank manager in which he spewed racial slurs. Why is it, ladies and gentlemen, that anti-mask people and racial slurs fit like hand in glove? You're seeing the pattern here, right? Okay, was it the mask policy or was it the race of the person telling him the mask policy, or a little bit of both? Okay, his name is Officer James Allen Jones. On September 3rd, a man entered the Wells Fargo branch on Grand Avenue without a mask, contrary to the rules. That was reported by Caitlin Leslie. A bank manager who asked to remain anonymous when talking to the Tribune said he asked the man to put on a face mask. At that point, the manager said the man became extremely aggressive, called the manager a racist slur, and caused a commotion in the bank lobby. It didn't stop there. Now, if it just stopped there, this person would not be famous today. Let's put up his picture one more time, okay? He's famous today because he couldn't just leave the bank after the argument. He couldn't do that. He decided to go outside and wait. According to the report, the man identified as Officer James Allen Jones of the California Men's Colony, that is a prison for men only, returned later and assaulted the bank manager in the parking lot. This man left, returned, waited outside to assault the manager of the bank. After the victim attempted to fight back, Jones retreated and the police were summoned. They were called. The police noted that Jones' fellow correctional officers were helpful in making the arrest and turning Mr. Jones over to the detectives. If this officer, who's a correctional officer, will treat a bank manager this way, how do you think he's treating prisoners? All right. Senator Turner, what are your thoughts here?
Oh, Dr. Richie, I sigh. I mean, obviously this man needs another career, and hopefully he will be done with corrections, because he, somebody is given of authority and telling people what to do in that facility on a regular basis has no self-control whatsoever. Thought he was above the rules because the bank made the rules, so you didn't want to follow the rules. And then to put his hands on somebody else, I think he kind of thought he was above the law too. So I'm glad that his fellow colleagues pointed him out and got him where he needs to be, which is on the other side of the bars.
Yeah,
right now.
Exactly, and I hope that this investigation goes beyond the bank, because naturally, I guarantee you, a person like this, they have a background at that jail of excessive force and major complaints. So hopefully it continues to extend beyond that moment at the bank parking lot. Let me shift gears to this extremely sad story. Now, we've talked about this story a few times right here on Indisputable. That young, beautiful soul, Elijah McClain, a young man So difficult for me to tell this story, y'all. A young man who would play his violin so that animals at the shelter could feel comforted. That's the kind of soul we're talking about. That's the kind of young man he was. Well, we know about the tragedy. He was murdered, not just by the police, but also by the paramedics. The culture has been exposed now by the Attorney General. Let me remind you first, before I get into what the Attorney General has now determined of that state, let me remind you of some of what happened that night.
Police had gotten a call about a suspicious man wearing a mask.
I am an introvert.
They restrained him with a carotid hold, and paramedics injected him with a powerful sedative, ketamine.
I can't breathe correctly because...
Now, a 32-count indictment. 2 officers, a former officer, and 2 paramedics each face a count of manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. 4 of the 5 also face assault charges. McClain's family described him as a kind introvert who played his violin to comfort cats at an animal shelter.
Okay? When this first happened, the local DA said, nothing to see here, no crime, nothing. The state's attorney general picked up the case, okay? Grand jury says, you're right, not just 1 crime, but over 30. Now, the conclusion of a 14-month investigation by the AG's Office of Colorado has yielded the results. Not only is the Aurora Police Department racist, but the fire department where the paramedics were employed, they illegally administered this drug, not only to Elijah McClain, but to others as well. Remember, policy is one thing, culture is something else. If your culture is adversarial to the policy, culture will eat policy alive every day. And that is exactly what happened here. It was found that there was, according to the investigation, a consistent pattern of illegal behavior by police. Nearly half of the individuals from Aurora Police, let me say that again. Nearly half of the individuals whom Aurora Police used force against were Black. Even though Black residents only make up 15% of the population. Let's put a picture up of the police chief, because they're not giving us names right now of the officers who have been cited in the investigation beyond what we know in the indictment. That is Chief Vanessa Wilson. Chief Wilson says that she is going to cooperate with the AG's office. The 112-page report found that the police department has a pattern of practicing racially biased policing, excessive force, and has failed to record legally required information when interacting with the community, according to a news release from the Attorney General. The report also found this police department used force against people of color almost 2.5 times more than against white people. So you got one stat, 15% of the population Black, 50% of the altercations and interactions. Come on now, with Black people, they only make up 15% of the population, and 2.5 times more likely to have force used against them. The report revealed that the fire department had a pattern and practice of administering ketamine illegally. That's according to the release. That's part of what killed Elijah McClain. They're saying in their report, it wasn't just him. They've done it to other people. The report comes out more than 2 years after Elijah McClain died in August 2019. McClain, 23 years of age, was stopped by police while walking home from a store. The investigation found officers, get this, recited stop resisting. They did it generically. Now, here's why they did it. They're so damn diabolical. They cited it generically just to make it appear that the suspect was not complying. So their investigation found that they would recite, stop resisting when trying to control subjects that appeared to not be resisting at all. The AG report said the investigation team observed police officers taking people to the ground with force without giving them adequate time to respond to an officer's command. Even in circumstances where some would be in obvious mental health distress, but not a threat to themselves, the investigation found officers immediately escalated the situation. Officers also used force on people who presented no danger and had not committed a crime, but simply refused to comply. And it gets even deeper than that. But all of these things are dynamics that we have seen on video. And then we allow the spin to come in from the local police department saying our officers were in fear of their lives. This suspect was resisting. No, your cops were lying, saying they were resisting. Nina, what are your thoughts on this one?
Aurora, we have a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. In the whole ecosystem, and basically what the AG's report reveals is that the entire ecosystem of the safety forces in that city has a problem. And so all paths lead to a systemic problem, which has been allowed to fester and manifest itself time and time again at the expense of other folks. And Elijah McClain paid the ultimate price. You know, what really stuck out for me, Doc, in this is when when the officer said to Elijah, I have a right to stop you because you are being suspicious. I want people to understand that the very notion of being black in America elicits suspicion. And that officer was honest in the words that he articulated, which have been articulated time into memorial from not just people in law enforcement, but also this whole notion of how we are socialized, that because you are black, you are suspicious. This young man said, I'm an introvert, I'm on my way home. He said, I can't breathe. They ignored all of that. And then get this, because the dog part really got me. This really got me when the officer told him, you keep messing around and I'm gonna bring my dog out. Think about that mindset, and then let's journey back to the 20th century of how dogs were used against civil rights protesters in the 20th century.
Very well said. Very well said. Next story is unrelated, but Roger Stone, someone who protects the ideology of white supremacy. Roger Stone was doing a radio interview and was served papers during the interview. Longtime advisor to many very evil people, decided to make sure he continued his interview. Here's some of it.
Can I ask you, you've said before that Trump should run again, but I think lately you said it's imperative he run in 2024. Is that right?
Yeah, there's been an evolution in my viewpoint. I really, in politics, 3.5 years is a lifetime, to say the least. And I really did not know if. Hold on a second. I have a protest server at my front door about to serve me in the latest lawsuit. I'm going to take this live on your radio.
Oh, show. Holy smokes!
Wow.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Great. How you doing, Mr.
Terrific.
You know what I have?
Yes, of course. I'll be happy to accept your
court papers from something to do with the,
Oh yes, a civil court in the District of Columbia.
Federal court. That's civil. Federal.
Yes. It's still a fraud. Doesn't matter. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, I've just been served in the Gene suit. Live right here on your radio.
Wow. Tomorrow's day. Tomorrow's news today.
This is a big stack of papers, which is good because we're out of toilet paper today. So.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my, Roger. Oh my God.
It's like I said, it's lawfare. It's harassment.
Oh my, Roger. Oh my God, Roger. I mean, Roger. A wealthy, well-connected white male simply cannot catch a break in this country. Remember, Roger was arrested for witness tampering, obstructing official proceedings, providing false statements. Who's the fraud here? Nina?
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Right. Very well said.
I mean, he's reaping what he sowed, and it's just, I mean, the lunacy that's going on here. So yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
There you go. All right, we got more on the other side. Okay, we got a few more minutes. I thought we were at the end. One thing about the Roger Stone story, and sorry about that, producers. One thing about the Roger Stone story is that he's been very in your face about his corruption. I mean, he literally considers himself to be a black arts political scientist, where he engages in these very dark methodologies in order to influence the electorate. And he was very proud of that. And now he finds himself not only under federal investigation and indictment, but naturally he's being sued left and right. Let me ask you this, Nina, because I have rarely come across any political figure that everybody they come in contact with, their lives are made worse. I mean, you got to look at folks, especially the presidency, right? I know some people that work for President Obama, they're doing remarkable today. I know people that work for George W. Bush, they have great careers today. But it seems like everyone who touched Trump on some level, hell, Roger was, the evil advisor, but then he touches Donald Trump, he gets indicted for it.
And even then, he's still talking about the man should run again in 2024.
Right. To pardon him, probably.
Yeah, this could happen to a nicer person.
Right. All right, we got more. Producers are saying I could go to a commercial now. Okay, we got more. You're getting indisputable Nina Turner right here. See you in a minute.
So a lot of progressive office holders are doing something fun. I like fun. They're doing the last 2 years in 2 minutes. Okay, we're gonna try it here. First, I wanna let you guys know about the years before that. Hey, remember we started the Just Democrats here on the Young Turks. It was officially launched on our air, basically by you guys. And then we featured AOC, we featured Cori Bush, and Ro Khanna became the first ever Just Democrat incumbent, all on the Young Turks. Now, the last 2 years have been a spectacular follow-up to that. So let's put the 2 minutes on the clock and do this. Young Turks got to start back in 2002, and I think we've been an important part of the progressive movement ever since. What we mainly do is amplify the progressive voice and candidates out there, and I think we've done a pretty good job. Right now, we're currently #1 most engaged news politics network online, beating CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC, all of them. We're #1 in total minutes watched. That means not only the number of people watching, but how long they watch. We just crossed 20 million followers and 500 million monthly views. Now, why? That's because actually the country's progressive. It's 2/3 progressive, and you guys have allowed us to be your voice, and we're incredibly thankful for that. So what did we do with that voice? Well, let's look at 2019. We went all over the country talking to you guys and the candidates. So we were in Miami, we were in Detroit, we were in Houston, and we were in Iowa. In fact, we were all over Iowa. You guys were all over Iowa, and all of the candidates saw you guys. We had wonderful people speaking, like the one and only Nina Turner at our rallies. Bernie Sanders stopped by, Andrew Yang, Elizabeth Warren. We interviewed almost everyone on the campaign trail, with the exception of Biden and Buttigieg. And we held them accountable. We even did a progressive economic pledge, and so many wonderful people signed on to that. Bernie Sanders, Warren, Marianne Williamson, AOC, the entire squad, Justice Democrats, and so many others. Now, on top of all that, we started a show called The Conversation, where we featured so many progressive thinkers, writers, and candidates. And one of the candidates we featured in 2019 was Jamal Bowman. Here comes Jamal Bowman. Then we had an amazing 2020. We hired a climate reporter. Damage Report passed 500,000 subscribers. Young Turks passed 5 million subscribers. We're getting the message out to more and more people. Bernie Sanders comes on in the heat of the primary. He comes on after the election to say what we're gonna do for the future. And then Marie Newman wins. Jamal Bowman wins. Cori Bush wins. And then just when you thought it couldn't get any better, here comes Nina Turner. Hello, somebody. And she's running for Congress, and she comes on the Young Turks first. On election week, we had nearly 2 million hours of viewing. We're #1 destination for progressives. You made all that happen. This is amazing, and thank you for those 2 years. What, I went past 2 minutes? Of course! worse.
Viewers had asked for an interview with the TYT Lizard. Mr. Lizard. Oh, you changed colors today. Nice. I don't even know how you feel about us. Do you even like us?
Well, you guys made me this awesome house, so I'm kind of in your debt. I was found outside on the street, and you gave me a home. Granted, it was a really crappy home for a while, but then through the power of fundraising, I became a person who has a multi-level Trump-style mansion.
You do. By the way, you've never looked better, man. Normally, you're just green or just brown, but today you're in mid-lizard, right?
I'm not very smart. I'm a lizard, so I don't know how the science works. I guess this is just my mood. It's not every day that thresholds like this are broken. I'm just so excited. I can't contain my pigmentation.
And now you're showing it off.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never seen the lizard like this before.
All right, welcome back. We got a lot of comments. I'm gonna read as many as I can. Before I get to those comments, let me remind everyone to watch the conversation live at 5:30 Eastern time, 2:30 Pacific time, tyt.com/live before the Young Turks. Cenk gets into a heated debate with conservatives over vaccine mandates. I saw some of this heated debate already. It's hilarious, okay? Also, make sure to subscribe and watch all interviews at youtube.com/TYT conversation. After Indisputable, catch Reactions with Ray Vanna. Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific time. That's a Twitch exclusive. Tune in on Twitch at twitch.tv/TYT. Let me read the comments. I got Kelly O'Hara, that's my poet. Kelly says, oh, hello somebody. How do you do? So nice to hear. We'll see more of you. And for you to be here on this hallowed ground, the blessings of truth's gods upon us abound. Pairing the doctor and Nina is so sweet. Watch me dance with my happy feet. Hashtag keep going.
Hello, somebody. Doc, I need a copy of that. I got to get that.
Well, listen, they got it. They heard you. Production got it all ready to you. Look, I'm looking at it now. Email coming. That's beautiful. Kelly writes like a poem like this every show. She got bars. I mean, she's basically a rap artist.
Yes, she is. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Echoes my real name. Yay, it's the first Nina night. I'm in Denmark, so it's evening. Looking forward to many more Thursday nights with Nina. And as always, the good doctor is a legend. Thank you so much for that. We're looking forward to her as well. Eric the Red. This is how he behaves out in the world. I wouldn't want to be a prisoner under his care.
Yes.
Yep. I Am Sock says, I'd rather have the actual, the Penguin Batman villain than Roger Stone. That's so cold, man. But he does look like the Penguin villain, though. He just does, man. Okay. Cognitive dissonance is a hell of a drug. Thank you, Ms. Turner. There's always historical context with things like this. It breaks my heart to see what happened to that young man, especially because I'm raising 2 special needs black boys. He articulated his needs and spoke up for himself and still didn't save him. And that's great insight because remember, hand in glove, cop, paramedic, both teamed up to kill this young man.
Yeah, they did. And Doc, one other thing, the paramedics didn't even analyze the situation before they just responded to what the police told them to do. Who's the medical professional here?
That's right. That's right. Super chat, Jeffrey Ritchie. Good morning, Dr. Ritchie. Good morning, Senator Turner. Thanks for consistent truths, and you are very welcome.
Amen.
Jared is hollow. Hello, Nina. Welcome to the show. Absolutely. Let me get a couple of twitchy. Mike Boy Raps, a regular dose of Nina will be great for my mental health. Look at Nina, man, so inspirational, and that she is. Fat guy named Tiny. Nice. Give that server a raise. He knows how to do his research. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
We're coming at you live from Marketplace. Go on, lady. Go.
Fascinating. Karenicity at its finest. Karens in the wild, ladies and gentlemen, are dangerous people. Now, this individual attacked several workers, wanted to attack even more. Why? Because of a mask policy. They are willing to throw hands rather than throw on a mask. You have to understand the irony of this. They would rather engage in criminal assault than either A, leave a restaurant that has a policy they cannot adhere to, or B, put on a damn mask. And she's quoting science here. I'm vaccinated. That doesn't mean you're not a carrier. Remember, the mask is for everybody else because it decreases the spread of COVID-19 by up to 91% when worn properly. Even if you improperly wear it, there's a laboratory test with a high-speed camera just came out not too long ago that shows you still decrease the molecules by over 50%, even if improperly worn. In other words, it helps protect others. Restaurants have policies. No shoes, no shirt, no service. Some restaurants say, no hat during certain hours, or that's a restaurant policy where you have to wear dress up clothes. Restaurants have policies. We know that. Okay, Nina, how did she survive this?
These people have lost their ever-loving minds, as my grandmother would say. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And to go to such great lengths, to be all up in people's face like that. First of all, mask or no mask, don't be all up in people's space. Yeah. That's a long rule in the Black community, especially, baby. Don't come up into my space like that. Right. But these people are selfish, and it's lunacy, Doc.
Yeah, and what it shows is the level of privilege that they believe they should exercise over others, right? Right. It is a simple rule. Many of them are aware of the rule before they get there. Some of them see the sign before entering the location. And what they want to do is not only make a scene, but this is also part of when, let's say this, you know how a 5-year-old may act when they don't get their way, right? Yeah. If you spoil that 5-year-old, the first time you enact a discipline or you take something away that the 5-year-old has always believed they are privileged to have, that 5-year-old will respond just like this Karen did in Huntington Beach, California. That's what happens.
It's okay when you're 5, barely.
Yeah.
But it's damn sure not okay when you grown. Follow the rules that don't come into the place. That's just
right. Right. And remember now, these are the same people that under any other circumstances would be saying to us, Nina, you just need to follow the rules.
Follow the rules. That's it.
All right. I got a treat. Double dose.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free. Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
I'm just trying to ask you to go to speed limit is all.
I'm saying I'm gonna go.
Oh. Okay.
Get off the goddamn.
Okay. All right.
Car now.
Well, you got to. Hey, you're gonna have to open that trunk. I'm not going anywhere until you open that trunk.
Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out!
Nope. You're gonna have to get my bag out of your car. I just want my bag, man. That's all I want was my bag. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Me too.
Yep. Lyft driver Karen left him on the damn expressway. You saw it right there. Now, why did this happen? This man was coming back from the airport. He said, hey, can you roll this back window up? She says, no, it's policy. We got to keep the windows down. He says, okay, well, can you go to speed limit, right? He says, can you go the speed limit? And she gets irate, okay? Off the chain. In a statement, Lyft said, and I quote, safety is fundamental to Lyft, and the incident shown on the video is concerning. We have reached out to the rider to offer our support, which means one free Lyft ride, and have suspended the driver's account pending a complete investigation. What investigation? What investigation? She left that man on the side of the expressway. Nina, what investigation?
That was the investigation, Doctor.
Right, he did the investigation.
Right, I mean, people take this too damn far sometimes. Okay, the camera didn't lie. It was live and living color. We're gonna save you the trouble and the money. The investigation was already done. And again, she forgot who the customer was. Okay, get it. Leave the window open. We got it. COVID. At least she had a mask on. At least. Leave the windows down. Excuse me. But when the man asks you to go to speed limit, woman, and this sets you off, you ought not be a Lyft driver. Let's just go and check her off the list.
Yeah, and let me ask this. I mean, I don't know if we have a steal or can run it back, but I'm trying to figure out, why does she not have any shoes on? Okay.
Well, Doc, I know a few people who drive barefoot.
Come on now, you know that's I got some cousins down in deep South Georgia, right? They go everywhere barefoot. Okay, all right, it's coming up now, because some of y'all may have missed this, right? All right, here it come. You're about to see. Where the shoes at? Come on, Karen.
That ain't the worst thing, Doc. He threw the brothers bags.
Oh yeah, with aggression.
Yeah, I mean,
if he had a laptop, it's over with.
It's done. She lucky a fight didn't break out. And as far as Lyft is concerned, this man should get a lifetime worth of rides, not just one free ride.
Before it got to that point where he's getting out the vehicle, she actually tried to grab his cell phone to stop the recording.
Yeah, she did.
Remember, the Karenicity is so rich and deep inside of this person that she is well aware she's being recorded. Hell, listen, if you drive for Lyft, I got friends that drive for Lyft and Uber. Nobody wants that damn 1 star. You know what I mean?
Right.
She didn't give a damn about the recording, the 1 star, nothing.
Because that's how out of their mind, when they get into that Karen mode, you lose all sense of surroundings and everything about you. You just all about being the Karen.
That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. We're gonna continue to follow this because I do want to know what Lyft is gonna offer this guy, right? Obviously, she's going to be fired. Yeah, but I want to know what they offer him as compensation for his trouble. And listen, I feel bad for the guy. You're jet lagged. You're coming off an airplane. You are now stuck on an expressway. Nobody's gonna pick you up with a package.
Dangerous. That's not way. It's dangerous. So I think they need to watch the show Lifetime full of Lyft rides, but at least 6 months worth, at least 12 months. 12 months worth.
That's it. There you go. All right, and listen, shameless plug. We got our "I Wish a Karen Would" t-shirts, shop TYT. So make sure you go there and you can get. Do we got the graphic for it? All right, we don't have the graphic right now, but we'll get that graphic up. I want to make sure you get one of those t-shirts because here's my goal before the expiration of 2021. And if one of you all could do this for me, this would be so amazing. And Nina, I want you to get in on this too. If you can have on a I Wish a Karen Would t-shirt and just so happen to find a Karen event and record that Karenicity and record you having on I Wish a Karen Would t-shirt, we will play that clip right here on Indisputable. That would make, listen, that's an early Christmas present.
Like, I'm definitely gonna get my shirt. I don't wish a Karen would. I will not be responsible.
But see, when we, you know this, we black folks, so when we say we wish you would do something, we don't.
That's it.
It's the exact opposite in the sentiment. So the I wish a Karen would is not our. It's really me saying this is not what you want to do with this.
Don't do it. Remember when Cedric Entertainer he had a stand up about white people live by the Hope Creed.
Listen, you have to explain that.
Black people live by the Wish Creed. I wish fill in the blank would. Okay,
right.
So
and it was an iconic stand up because on the other side, he said our white brothers and sisters will say, I hope this doesn't happen. And black folks say, I wish that would happen.
I wish. We need to play that. We got to find that and play that one time on your
It's on YouTube. I literally saw it like 3 or 4 months ago, but they have that on YouTube right now.
Before it's time, but that's really what it's all about. It means don't do it.
That's right. That's right. All right, so we're gonna keep those Karens coming. Listen, Karens are interesting creatures, and we highlight them. And I get the emails. I get emails from people who are actually named Karen. And they say, hey, Doc, love the show. I actually love the Karen segments. I just wish they weren't called Karens. Listen, I get it, I understand it. Bear with us as we do this because we're bringing attention to something deeper than the name. We're bringing attention to the behavior, all right? Okay, we got more. It's indisputable, stick and stay.
You're about to watch some behind the scenes footage of the Young Turks. Ooh. Now these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member, go to tyt.com/join and you'll get all the behind the scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like tyt.com/join and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey, hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitsing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny. Bye. I said it was live stream, but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members. Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent.
Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Jank. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, AKA Woke Bay.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
This is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. I'll refer to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT?
Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing.
Oh, that was disastrous.
This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richard. We got a lot happening today. But what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I gotta let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know, maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize the police.
When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that Black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger Black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? The white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it though.
Climate is changing fundamentally, extremely, and non-linearly. It's becoming worse now. It's not when the levees burst that is the problem. It's in the anticipation of that.
So I hope every human being is safe. And by human beings, I do not include multinational corporations, especially the ones that started climate change in the first place.
What we're currently doing right now in cutting emissions is clearly not enough. There will be ramifications to what Trump is doing. I don't want people to suffer, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of suffering because we have an imbecile as our leader.
All right, welcome back. We got a lot of show left. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to some of these comments. Amazing engagement. Mickey C, the silver-haired dragon says, all of these childish anti-maskers remind me of a 4-year-old when you ask them to pick up their toys. They cross their arms, stomp their feet, throw a tantrum and scream. No, I don't want, and you can't make me. Right, it's a mirror comparison. Just be anti-racist. Dr. Richard, go to the TYT shop yesterday, purchased the I Wish Karen Would tee for my son, Kendrick, yesterday. Yes, he is super excited to wear it. Almost as excited as I am to see Senator Nina Turner on Indisputable. That's a whole lot of excitement in one day. You may want to calm down, okay? All right.
I'm excited.
Eric the Red, that's right. Eric the Red said, this one is a little old, but probably still holds true. Stats Canada reports now one baby has been named Karen since November 13th, 2019. I gotta fact check that one.
Yes.
All right, YouTube super chat. Hiram Bifidum. I don't wish Karen would. I wish they would meet each other halfway and stop being raging lunatics. Yeah. Spin Me a Sailcloth says, people fight their demons every day with what they have. And I ask, why is it that we arm them not with better weapons and armor, but better understanding and reason? Congrats, Doc, on your success. Thank you for that comment. Very insightful. Keita Boot Forever says, sorry, I would have had to whoop up on that Karen. It is what it is. There was one person that was about to do something. I think she realized she was at work, okay? And they were just trying to subdue the individual. Charles Lee, Joseph Massey III. Let's all just go ahead and call the male Karens Darren, so we can have an I Wish a Darren Would segment and shirt too. It's a good marketing idea. I call them male Karens because male Karens, Darrens, and Kens, and it's a bunch of names for them. So I just say male Karen, but you may have a point here. The Progressive Carpenter says, man, the protection that these Karens have because of their complexion is infuriating. We need the anti-Karens of the world to step up to these fools. And we've been seeing more and more anti-Karens step up and be a right now voice in that moment, right? Mike V, what are the chances of getting Nina, Adrian Lawrence, Big Waz on the same panel with you, Doc? Conservatives don't want that smoke with this progressive squad. That would be a hell of a panel, man.
It would. We should do it.
Mike, you just said something then, Mike. Okay? You just put it in the universe, brother. You see how that works? Something's gonna happen because you just said that. I would love it. Kat Gibbons says, thank you, Dr. Rich and Nina Turner, fellow Ohio activists, for continuing to speak truth to power. And you're very welcome, and thank you for what you're doing. All right. Jessica Tinkerbell Covington Shannon. Good afternoon from Miami, Florida. Love watching your show. I'm an armed security guard. I have to deal with some people like this almost every day. I work at a courthouse. Damn. God bless you, Jessica. Awaken to truth. Dr. R. Nina, sadly, catching a Karen while wearing the shirt is highly possible. It really is. I'm not setting the bar too high here, okay? All right, Twitch, Dragon_Princess. I always used to say, I wish a fool would. Now I use Karen, or another word that I'm not saying on air.
Right.
Okay? All right, Cyber Jeff or Geff Gaming. I'm gonna get me and I wish a Karen would t-shirt. Let's get it. Okay. What's wrong with these preachers? Let me bring your attention to a university. Campus police had to intervene. We do not know if anyone has been arrested. Let me do it this way. Let me put up the pictures of the protesters. One guy holding up these whores, and he used the slang version, haveth no clothes. Okay? They're at a college campus doing this. Another protester, let's put her up. Her sign said, women are weaker than men. Let's play the video. Yeah, University of Alabama. This was captured by a witness, and in the video told AL.com, the pair were carrying signs saying things to the effect that women belong in the kitchen, they should not be in college, things like that. And you see some of the signs that we already put up. Now, this is tough on some levels, right? Because you don't want people being brutalized and physically assaulted because of their speech, because of their protected speech. But here's what I will say, and I know, Nina, you do not endorse or promote violence. Here's what I will say to what happened here. You roll up to a college campus and you call them whores. You roll up to a college campus and you say things that are derogatory about who they are, their existence as people. Something negative may happen to you. It's possible, and that's what happened here. Nina, go ahead.
I mean, no doubt, Doc. They amping up. They creating an atmosphere or an environment that they need to understand that. We learned in science the basics. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. True that. Still, I would say that nobody has a right to just go up and put their hands on somebody just because they don't agree. Because if it was in reverse, we wouldn't support and condone that. I will say about the signs and what folks are saying, I don't think they know what century they're in.
Right.
women belong in the kitchen, calling women whores, and that kind of stuff. Women are weaker. I mean, what century do you think in?
Right. I can tell that by the clothing. They have no idea what time era they're living in right now. Let's bring up some of the preaching. We got some of that preaching. Okay, let's play the preaching.
Can turn to lesbianism. Yes, very short. That's what I'm
Oh my God.
Okay. The university provided some details. One of the spokespeople said, this came from Tyler Greer, told AL.com, and I quote, "There was a concerning, very unfortunate altercation on campus yesterday between demonstrators and what appeared to be a student. We cannot comment further at this time as this is an ongoing investigation." Okay, so we will give you updates on the development of that. I am sure that there's more to the story. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, an anti-mask pastor, okay, a preacher once again, insists that Twitter only banned him because he was dropping biblical bombs. Here it is.
I've been on Twitter since 2009. It's the most difficult platform to build. And finally, after we got up to almost 114,000 followers, now granted, after January the 6th, they took away about 20,000 followers. But finally, after building it up, having a verified platform on Twitter, they take the whole thing away. After years, since 2009, because I'm a danger. Guess who's still on Twitter? The Taliban, ladies and gentlemen. Are you awake yet, sheep? Wake up. Use your brain, use your Bible, get a backbone. They just permanently banned me. I'm the first pastor with any sort of a platform that's been banned. So guess what? We're fighting back right now. Within 1 hour of it happening, we've already had our wonderful lawyer for our ministry file, and we have just entered into the class action lawsuit against Twitter and all of these censorship Nazis. We just entered in with Candace Owens and Donald Trump and others. Can you believe it? They banned a pastor. They banned a pastor with a verified public blue checkmark platform on Twitter because I'm a danger. Oh no, it's because they just want to be where they censor us. We're over the target. We're dropping bombs, gospel bombs, political bombs, biblical bombs. They don't like what we're saying. I was just permanently deleted on Twitter.
The audacity of Twitter to ban a pastor with a blue check, damn it. He's not just a pastor. The man has a blue check. That must be respected around here. Now, I want to remind you, he's all bent out of shape about Twitter banning him, so he joins a dumbass lawsuit that will never see the light of day, okay? And he brags about it to throw red meat to his church base, but he's in the game of banning people himself. Here it is.
Don't believe this Delta variant nonsense. Stop it. Stop it. I know right-wing watching. I don't care. If they go through round 2 and you start showing up all these masks and all this nonsense, I'll ask you to leave. I will ask you to leave. I am not playing these Democrat games up in this church. If you want a social distance, go to First Baptist Church, but don't come to this one. I'm done with it. I said I'm done with it. I ain't playing these stupid games.
The man spun around like the Temptations. He hit the microphone on the floor. He was so damn adamant about this. But when you really listen to what this pastor said, his name is Greg Locke. When you really listen to him, not only is he banning people who wear a mask, he also said if you want a social distance, you go over there to First Baptist. So if you socially distance yourself from somebody, because maybe, you give a damn about your health, or if you wear a mask because you care about your health, or you bring your children, you cannot get white Jesus at his church. White Jesus is cut off from you, okay? And I say white Jesus intentionally because that's the only Jesus he's selling to people. Pastor Greg Locke, who bans people, is now upset because a private company exercised their right to ban him. The hypocrisy, unreal. Nina, thoughts?
Like I see a Lifetime movie in the making. He worried about a damn blue check. Just go and get that Lifetime movie going. I'm just telling you, what biblical bombs are you dropping? You shouldn't be dropping any bomb. That, doesn't sit well with me. What would Jesus do? Certainly not counsel people to put their lives in danger in this way with this kind of foolery. What happened to all are welcome? And he is the one that's playing games. He's playing games with people's lives. And then that First Baptist Church, I kind of got a little offended. I don't know. I started calling on Black Jesus. And that moment, First Baptist seemed a little racial to me. I mean, it might just be me. Maybe I'm being a little sensitive. But when he said going down to First Baptist, that triggered something in Sister Turner.
I thought I was the only one. I was the only one that felt. I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about?
I felt a certain kind of way, but yeah, come on down to First Baptist.
Pastor.
All are welcome.
That's right, all are welcome.
Like Jesus will take all in.
Everybody. He did have one point of truth. He said, the Taliban, they're still on Twitter. And he's correct. There are people who are in the Taliban on Twitter because they follow the rules and the community regulations of Twitter. That says more about his dumb ass than people from the Taliban. So as wicked as people from the Taliban are, they actually, when they tweet, they will make sure they follow the community standards of Twitter. Isn't that something?
That's something else.
We see the emergence of a lot of these so-called men of God who are preaching a gospel of politics rather than a gospel rooted in the value of other people, okay? And that's what the gospel was truly about. Ms. Turner, it has been a pleasure having you on Indisputable. We are looking forward to you being here every Thursday, but tell people how they can continue to follow you and check out your great works.
It's been great to be with you too, Doc. And so glad to be enhancing the TYT family.
Yes, that's right.
Family. Nina Turner at Nina Turner on Twitter, Nina Turner Ohio on IG, and Nina Turner on Facebook. Looking forward to continuing to engage, and you just have a fabulous audience. Just thank everybody for their support. And Doc, you doing this? You really are.
Bless you, sister, and you are as well, Senator. Always great to see you. Okay.
You as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got more. The bullpen next.
I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken when I first got my license, like 17 years old or 17, 18, whatever it was. And I'm driving, I think, my dad's Oldsmobile. And I parked it in a place where there was two cars next to me, really tight spot, and a car behind me. I don't even know how I got in there because I'm a terrible driver. Back then I was an even worse driver. And on the roads I'm okay, but in parking spots I have terrible spatial reasoning and I'm a mess. And on my way out, I hit all three cars at once. I broke all records, okay? So I went, as I'm backing out, I went boom, oh and this side hit that car, this side hit this car, and the back hit the third car, okay? And I got stuck. I didn't know how to get out. Like, I went, okay, for this, and then I'm like, no, and then, right? And then finally I had to stop, go inside the KFC and go, I'm sorry, I hit a bunch of your cars. They're like, what do you mean a bunch of your cars? I'm like, I don't know.
Wow, there's a B?
Yeah, I'm like this, I hit 3 cars, I don't know. So you guys gotta come help me, okay? Okay, so one, my bad, really sorry about that. Okay, number 2, can someone take my car out? Because I don't wanna keep hitting your cars and I'm incapable of taking it out of this spot.
Now baby, move that fat, baby, move that fat. Out.
Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. This is Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
Do all of you know the Young Turks?
an outlet like yourself that are willing to cover this story from the very beginning and that weren't afraid to say, hey, this is something that is legitimate.
And this is why what Cenk and the Young Turks are doing is so important.
Brent Welder is very progressive Democrat. He's a just Democrat, in fact, uncorrupted, not going to take big corporate PAC money. When did you start watching the show and when did you become a member?
So I've been watching for 10 years, an active viewer, but also more importantly, getting out there with causes like Wolfpack.
By the end of our campaign, we had organized about 22,000 individual contributions with an average about $27 a piece. And those initial people were a lot of TYT supporters as well.
In looking at the world in a very different way than corporate media does.
It takes those early people who believe that can really be the seeds of this movement, and that has been the Young Turks.
Thank you, Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks.
Thank you to TYT and all the progressives around the country that have our backs.
You know, the first and only interviews that we had tonight to be with the Young Turks as well, because you guys have been here from the very beginning, and that's what this night is all about.
And I thank Cenk very much for the very good work that he does.
Thank you so much. We're all in this together, and the people are so powerful, and we're gonna get it done.
Thank you for your constant support.
It's a pleasure to be with rebels. I like that.
For all of the help that you've given to the Just Democrats, to Wolfpack, to help fellow progressives, thank you guys, to all the Young Turks members that make it possible.
Hey, this is Edwin. Most of you might recognize me, well, not me, mostly my laugh from the main show.
I mean, it's gonna be hard to get the Uygur maneuver on him.
And today, my talent is Rubik's Cubes. You gotta forgive me, it's been at least 5 years since I've competed. So that's why I'm actually going pretty slow. Watch this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the bullpen. In the bullpen today, we have a returning guest, Mr. Dave Spencer, host of Practically Political. It's a podcast. He has a long, extensive background. He was born in New York as a member of the Rockefeller family. He is the grandson of John D. Rockefeller III. And actually a remarkable guy. We disagree politically on many things, but great guy. Dave, welcome.
Thanks for having me again. It's great to be back in the pen.
Yeah, man, good to have you back. So usually at this point, Dave, I would say, I don't want to presume what you know or believe about this particular topic, but I'm going to presume something this time. When your greatest hope is Larry Elder, you've obviously made some bad decisions in your life.
Well, I actually voted no on the recall, and then I voted for Kevin Kiley. I think Larry Elder is very entertaining, but he is not qualified to be governor. And what I keep telling people in the California GOP is, they boast about, oh, we raised this money, we reached 18 million new voters. You're on the 25 to 30% side of the issues, where most Californians are on the 60 to 70% side. You can raise all the money and make all the contacts you want, but until you start coming around to what most Californians believe, and certainly if they're more liberal than I am, you're not going to go very far. And Gavin Newsom ran a very successful campaign saying Trumpism is still around, even though Trump isn't, and that did rally a significant number of voters to the polls.
Let me highlight a few things that happened during this election. Naturally, $200 to $300 million of taxpayer money was spent. When you look at the calculation of people making contributions, commercials, and everything else, you're well over $500 million at that point. Massively expensive, right? Over 40 candidates qualified to run for this seat, and people came out. It was a hyper turnout as far as a recall is concerned, and they voted. I don't think it was just the anti-Trump thing. I think Trump represents an ideology. It's still very closely connected to policy, even if you don't have an exacting policy agenda. Trump is identified through ideology, which is the cousin of policy anyway. So these guys did not have a policy message that was attractive to the majority of voters that will participate. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're absolutely right. In fact, I think the policy message, again, was this 25 to 30% appeal to the base stuff that you hear from Governor Ron DeSantis. You hear it from a lot of these people. And I just don't think it's a viable long-term strategy for the Republican Party. And even those of us who are pragmatists don't like recalls for what they're being used for. Recalls are for threats to the state. They're for criminal activity. They're not for policy or political disagreements. That's why we have elections. And I felt that way, by the way, about Scott Walker in Wisconsin in 2013. It's just this ongoing thing you see where people just don't like the outcomes of elections, and they do everything they can to change them or contest them or say they were rigged or stolen or whatever.
Let's talk about Larry Elder, because he was the #1 guy of a bunch of guys that had no chance of being governor. Okay, why was Larry Elder so popular within the bubble of Republican politics in California? Now, I'm not in Cali. So, when I saw that Larry Elder was polling at #1 among Republicans, that was surprising to me. I've known of Larry Elder for decades, and he's always been a really far-right guy defending what's not defendable. I mean, this has been his thing on radio, and he even admitted, I'm a talk radio guy, and I remember when he admitted years ago that he just says some things just to be sensational. He doesn't really believe them. It's meant to spark conversation and narrative. So why did he shoot to the front of the pack like this?
Well, let's put it in perspective, okay? He had 12% of the vote. Now, in 2003, when Gray Davis was recalled, Republicans were about 35% of the electorate. Now they're down to 24. So I think that most Republicans, or a lot of people I know, either tuned out or they picked Kevin Kiley or Kevin Faulconer, former mayor of San Diego, who were the two candidates that actually had some ideas. But Larry Elder was, he's a sensationalist, as you said. He says things to attract attention. He doesn't say things to craft policy or to make an intellectual contribution to what's going on in politics. So I think a lot of people out of rage. And again, this recall was based on visceral reasons, not cerebral reasons. People were irritated about Newsom's handling of COVID, or that their kids weren't back in school, all this stuff. And so they just wanted to take it out. It's that throw the bums out mentality. So 12% of the vote, and that's one of the flaws of California's recall system, is if Newsom were voted out, or if the recall were approved, you could have a governor with 12% of the vote, and that's not exactly democratic.
Yeah, I found that fascinating when I researched the protocol for the way California does the recall. So one, they got the signatures, they met the threshold for signatures, and it goes to this recall where literally, even if you had a person that was at 5%, if the field is split significantly and the person at 5% is your number one, and everybody else is just taking 4% here, 3% there, then that person becomes governor of Florida. Who crafted that? Who wrote that?
Well, it's actually in the state constitution. I think Californians, I should say we, as because I live here, not because I agree with it, but pride ourselves on being able to have all these propositions. It started back in 1978, of course, when Howard Jarvis put Proposition 13, which redid our whole property tax system. So, but the problem is that the system of referenda, which were designed to combat the special interests, now have become a tool of them.
Yeah.
So it kind of defeats the whole purpose. But I think if I could make one change, I would say recalls have to be for criminal or activities that's considered a threat to the state or a threat to the government. If you just made that one change, then I think that would make a big difference. And it's so easy, 12 million, 1.5 million signatures is all you need out of 40 million people. That's not a heavy lift.
Yeah, you have the right campaign, you organize it, you can get that many signatures, obviously, not a big deal. But then, as you said, the messaging does not connect to the sentiment of people in California. Let me ask you about you, Dave, because I've said this to a friend of mine about you, man, because we share some Twitter friends, etc. I said, Dave is a dying breed. And you may disagree with that. You may think this is just a phase of the Republican Party. I think it's over with for guys like you. I think people like you got plenty of common sense. My grandmother would say, you got walking around sense, all right, well educated. You're part of a mainstream voice inside of the Republican Party, but your voice is people like you. They are restricting your voice now to where you don't have the same level of influence in the party. So common sense conversations don't happen as often as they should. Do you disagree with my position on that?
No, in fact, I think look at what other than Liz Cheney and now Adam Kinzinger in Congress, how many people can you say are really standing up for what they believe? And that's been the major problem with the party, is that in the post-Trump era, people are rewarded for loyalty, and the bar has been set so low that stuff that would be offensive to us, we just shrug at right now. And the bottom line is, and this is where the Dems need to come in, as long as there's not a political price to be paid for this, it's going to keep on happening.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of Republicans and they say, hey, 2020, that was Trump. That's the reason Biden won. That wasn't the Republican Party. We gained seats in the House and the Senate. That's only because Trump interfered in the 2 Georgia races. We're fine. And it's that attitude, and you get complicity all around. And when you live in a society, when you have people that can't even agree on the same facts, and a lot of people I know who now are saying that Fox News isn't conservative enough, even Newsmax. Sadly, the people that are really conspiratorial are the people that get their information from Facebook. And I tell you, if I were president, I'd be hauling Mark Zuckerberg in front of Congress every month, because the damage that's been done through that site is beyond words.
Let me ask you this, man. It's really interesting, right? Because you talk about how there are Republicans out there saying, hey, that was a Trump thing. We lost those 2 incumbent senators in Georgia because of Trump. And that's kind of true, okay? But there are other variables as well. Over 80%, a recent poll was done, over 80% of current Republican voters are saying that it is important to be a Republican, for a Republican to identify Not only with Donald Trump, but the big lie that the election was stolen. So you have a majority of Republican voters saying now, in order for you to really be identified as a Republican in their mind, you must agree that the election was stolen from Donald Trump. That's an important variable to them. Now, based on how the questions were posed in this survey, it doesn't mean they believe that. It simply means, it doesn't mean they believe the election was stolen. It simply means they believe you must believe that in order to be a Republican today. Over 80%. I think that's problematic. And usually, Dave, the way this works is this. Platforms are strong, right? The Republican platform is a strong platform. The Democratic platform, strong platform. The institution of the presidency, the White House, strong platform. When people become presidents, right? They usually do things to try to rise up to the level of the institution. They try to rise up to the level of that institution and govern accordingly. What Donald Trump was able to do is he was able to shrink those institutions to fit him. He shrunk the institution of the White House to fit him. He shrunk the institution of the Republican Party to fit him. You all are the Trump party now because you allowed him to shrink you to that.
I agree, and I would say a few things. First of all, 2020 was the first time, and I can remember, that a major political party did not have a platform. The Republican Party did not have a platform.
Yeah,
it wasn't needed. It was whatever Donald Trump says. And I agree with you. That's his legacy that worries me the most. And you look at people like J.D. Vance. I mean, these are smart people, right? And they're buying into this. And you look at some of the people that he's supporting for secretaries of state in Michigan and Arizona, people that if they'd been there in 2020, they might have been able to find those 11,780 votes that they needed in Georgia. And let me just say one other thing to Democrats about these voter restriction laws is that prior to 2020, I don't think it was a problem. 2020, you had record turnout for Joe Biden, you had record turnout for African Americans. But what's happened this time, instead of laws that deal with while the vote's being counted, which has always been the case, now you have laws that deal with after the vote is counted. And that's what's most insidious. And HR 1, that omnibus voter bill that the Democrats want to pass, doesn't even address this. But in Georgia, here's an example. They are allowed to overturn what the counties say. Now, the law says only 4 counties can be overturned. And you'd say, oh, gee, Georgia has 159 counties, second most in the country in Texas. What's 4 counties? Well, DeKalb, Fulton, Gwinnett, and Cobb County are those 4 counties. And if you overturn those 4 counties, Donald Trump would have won Georgia. In fact, if you could just get rid of, in his mind, Philadelphia and Atlanta and Detroit, Donald Trump would have been president.
Yeah,
so
and
that's what we have to worry about.
Yeah, and what you're referring to is Senate Bill 202. Senate Bill 202 had a lot of different variables in the bill, but the most oppressive was to allow the state, to allow the Republican lawmakers to appoint a superintendent of elections temporarily in order to take over a board of elections locally if they do not like the results of that. Now, let me tell you something else that's happening. They've already started the process for Fulton County. Fulton County, yeah, they've already started it. So, here's what Republicans have learned, okay? And at some point, our laws got to catch up, our constitutions throughout the states, we have to catch up with this. They have learned it's not just about who casts the vote, it's also about who counts them. And what they're doing strategically is making sure they have statutory authorities in place to count votes and to be the final certifier for those votes, right? That's part of the plan.
Yeah, and this again goes back to something that I believe for a long time. For better or worse, Republicans understand power, Democrats don't. Every time Republicans try something and someone says, oh my God, that's never been tried before. Great, then it might work. Whether it's stealing the Supreme Court seat, all this stuff. Who cares if 95% of the country supports background checks? We're gonna do it. Be damned. Who cares if we have a slim minority? We're gonna govern as a majority. Stop us. And so that's something, whereas Democrats are so, it's not incompetent, but this may look, we got to get consensus. It seems like it's hurting cats. And that's where there's got to be more pushback on the Democratic Party, because absolutely, as I said, there is no political price thus far that's being paid for this stuff. And until there is, it's going to get worse, not better. Because the Republican Party, they feel the white minority rule, the only way to do that, demographically, they know they're screwed, right? So the only way to do it is to rig the system.
You made a hell of a point.
That's it.
Because Democrats they already have consensus. They have the sentiment. The majority of the policies that Republicans are in the minority, well, guess who's in the majority? Democrats are. The American population is more so on the side of the policy of the Democrat than on the side of the Republican. So they're literally leading by way of a minority, not only minority in the political sense, but a minority in the sentiment sense, right? But you're right. They have figured out how to place key people in certain roles to retain and obtain power. Now, we'll say this about Democrats, because those who lean left, all right, I don't consider myself a Democrat. I'm a progressive, all right? I'm different than a Democrat. And when you get close enough, you can see the difference. But those who lean left, there's this hesitation to become the mirror image based on methodology and other things of those who are on the right. Well, that's all process, right? That's process. The issue is we're fighting some diabolical Republicans, okay? These individuals don't give a damn about your sensibilities. Now, I get the caution, because I was reminded by a very wise person. Listen, you cannot become the evil you seek to eliminate. You cannot become that in the process. But I think there's a middle ground here where you don't have to become the evil that you're seeking to get rid of, but at the same time, playing the game at the speed of the game.
Well, no, I absolutely agree with you. And here's a classic example when I talk about what's frustrating, the whole infrastructure thing. There's a bill that 19 Republican senators vote for. It's the kind of infrastructure people want. But I'm worried that the squad, AOC and the other three, and Bernie Sanders are basically not going to let that bill go through unless this $3.5 trillion bill gets voted on as well. And Joe Manchin has made it clear, as has Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona, they don't support that kind of spending. President Biden needs a win more than ever. His presidency is at stake. Pass that first infrastructure bill, then you can go back to reconciliation. I mean, this is something, again, to me, that's such a no-brainer.
Let me give you another perspective, okay? I actually think they're gonna end up passing it because, it is what it is. I support the squad. I support Brother Bernie. I support AOC. I support what they're doing. And I know you know what they're doing here. They're trying to pressure from within their own political party to do what Donald Trump and his crew was able to do to the Republican Party. But they're doing it for good. They're doing it for agendas and policies that people do believe in, that will actually help others, where Republicans, or those that are the Trump era Republicans or Trump-like Republicans, they did it from within their party as well. And they were able to make some significant progress with advancing when they did have a little more power. And now that they don't have much power, you still have this Trump minority calling the shots, because they control, brother, all Republican primaries virtually now in the United States of America, which puts Trump in a very special position of power. So what they're trying to do is something similar on the other side.
Pass the first bill. Everybody wants it. Why hold it hostage? I guess this is the thing to me. It's this perfect being the enemy of the good. My classic example of this is in 2016 in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, there were 2 to 3 times as many voters who voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary who voted for Donald Trump in the general election. And my response is, what? Are you kidding me? It's the same type of thing. Well, if it's not my way, then we're all going down. And I just think it's bad politics, and it's something that's going to hurt the Democrats. Pass that first infrastructure bill. You can come back to reconciliation. Manchin may not approve $3.5 trillion, but you can get 1 to 2 trillion. You can get a lot of other stuff passed. But Biden needs a win. Do it now.
Yeah. And like I said, man, I know what they're doing. I believe in what they're doing. I do believe it's going to eventually pass with compromise, just like all of the other bills passed with compromise. We wanted much more in the stimulus package. We wanted more with a lot of these bills, right? But there was a compromise, and politics, unfortunately, is always the art of compromise, not just doing the right thing. You got to work with a whole lot of people who have various ideas.
The stimulus is one plan. I mean, this was two bills. Pass the first one, then do the second one.
But you know the trick, Dave? The trick is, and listen, Democrats will play this trick on Democrats. Yeah, go ahead and pass this bill. I got you back on the next one. We'll come back to the table. And they're lying because they're political rather than public servants. One thing you can say about people like AOC and those that represent the progressive movement of the party, they are more authentic public servants than your average politician. And I've met many of them and interviewed many of them on my radio show. They are different. They are completely different than some of the corporate Democrats. And I think that's refreshing, not only to those who are apolitical, right? Not really involved in politics, but it has to be refreshing for cats like you to see authenticity in politics for a change.
Well, I wonder if that authenticity doesn't have more to do with the fact that they're in safe congressional districts as opposed to being in swing districts. I think there's an element of survival here. You know, a lot of these people who have to actually a serious re-election fight or primary fight, they have to worry more about pleasing both sides, and that's not true with, unfortunately, way too many people on both sides.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate reality of Manchin as well, right? That he plays this footsie on both sides because of the nature of his district. Brother, my producers are telling me I got to wrap it up. Always fun to chat with you, Dave.
All I would say about Joe Manchin is there's not a person on this planet, another person who could hold that Senate seat as a Democrat.
That's what everybody keeps saying, man. Everybody's
it's true. My uncle served in that state for 40 years. I know it pretty well.
And listen, there are a lot of people, when I talk about Joe Manchin, they are Democrats. They emailed me, they tagged me on Twitter saying the same thing that you just said. I have no love for Joe Manchin whatsoever. I'm just putting it out there. I do not like what he represents, period. I don't give a damn that he's a Democrat. I don't care that he votes sometimes with Democrats. And really, he votes most of the time with Democrats, by the way. If you look at right item by item. But here's the problem I have with Joe, Dave. He votes against us, the community, on major social policy and legislation that will impact us in a way that's significant. He leaves us on the major stuff. All right.
He supported the greatest reduction in childhood poverty with the American Rescue Plan, so at least give him that.
Well, listen, man, that was before he was well funded by some of these other cats that just got in his pockets. Now it's a different story. But I'm with you on that. I know he made some good votes in the past. He's not making good votes now. And what is politics? What have you done for me lately? That's the game of politics. I appreciate you, Dave.
Hey, always great being with you. Thanks so much.
Absolutely, brother. All right, ladies and gentlemen, remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.